A well-known researcher from Texas A&M Corpus Christi who's been working with the City-County Health District to track the effects of the coronavirus locally has now found himself on the other side of his research. It is our top story tonight. Brian Gillis, the director of the Spatial Query Lab at the Conrad Blucher Institute, tested positive for the virus earlier this month. Gillis has been working with researchers to help the health district model coronavirus trends for city and county leaders. Gillis was given 3 tests by the VA when one test came back as a possible positive. Gillis then received a treatment plan. He has since recovered and is still working with the university research team tracking the virus flare-ups across the coastal bend, and there have been certainly those flare-ups.